Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Treasure Peter. On today's tutorial, I'll be making this beautiful ankara joggers pants with cargo pocket. It has an elastic band on the waist and also an inner pocket. So guys, watch till the end if it's something you're interested in. Thank you. Welcome back once again guys. So to make this trouser, I'm going to be making use of this ankara fabric. It's a 100% cotton ankara fabric, so I won't be lining it, and I'm going to be making use of about 2.5 yards for this trouser. I'm going to carve out this part to join and make the cargo pocket just like you saw at the beginning. So guys, let's go straight into the cutting of this pant. The first thing I did was to fold my fabric into two in order to cut the front part. To determine the width, I took my hip measurement divided by 4 plus additional 4 inches. So because we are going to be adding elastic to the waist of this trouser, I'm going to come down with 2 inches before starting my measurement. So the 2 inches is where I'm going to be folding in so I can insert the elastic. I went ahead to draw the line across to form the beginning line. From the beginning line, I proceeded to determine the crotch depth. In order to determine the crotch depth, I usually divide my hip measurements by 4, and whatever I have, that is where I mark to take my crotch depth. So this is what I do all the time, and I notice it actually fits people, so that's why I am sticking to this method, and I hope it works for you also. If you've actually tried this method before, perhaps you watched my previous video on how to cut trouser and it has worked for you, please let me know in the comment section. After that, I went ahead to draw the line across. So the next thing I'm going to determine is the length of the trouser. This material wasn't actually enough to determine the length of the trouser because my client is very tall and the length of our trouser was about 47 inches. So later on, I'm going to be attaching more material to make it enough. At the side, I marked 1.5 inch as my side allowance, and I marked it from the up part to the down part across just like this. Next, I'll be taking the hip measurement on the crotch depth line. So I took the client's hip measurement divided by 4. Starting from the sewing allowance point, I added extra ½ inch for ease. This is because of the way our trouser is. It's not supposed to be very fitted because it's more like a jogger's pant. So I went ahead to measure what I had. When I divide by 4, I had about 10.5 inches, but I added extra ½ inch, making it 11 inches. Then I marked the same thing on the waistline and made it a straight line. The reason why I'm using the same measurements for the waistline is because I'll be adding elastic to the waistline. So from the crotch depth, I went up with 2 inches. The 2 inches shows where our curve is going to end. And then from this point, I extended our crotch extension by 2.5 inch. You can use 2.5 or 3 inches depending on the hip measurement of the person you're making it for. If it's from 45 and above, I usually use 3 inches. But from 44 and below, for adults, I usually use 2.5 inches. Note, for children, you can use up to 2.5 inches. You can use like 1.5 or IS2 depending on how big the child is. From the crotch extension, I went ahead to just curve it to meet the 2 inches point. From the crotch line, I proceeded to mark 2 inches below the crotch line to serve as the lap or the round thigh measurement point. So I'm going to be taking the upper lap or the upper round thigh, anyhow you want to call it. So divide it by 2 and whatever you have, mark it. So because this is like a kind of free pant, I didn't make it to be too tight at that point. I added almost about extra 2 inches allowance. This is because I wanted it to be free at that point, and then I marked what I had and then added extra ½ inch allowance before connecting it to meet with the crotch extension point. At the down part, which is the end of the trouser, I proceeded to also measure what I had when I measured the round ankle. I didn't make it to be too tight. I marked what I had when I divided it by 2 and then proceeded to connect it from that point to the round lap point in a slant form like this. And then I proceeded to cut it out. Here's the front after cutting it. I went ahead to place the front on another piece of fabric to cut out the back. I added like additional 2 inches to the width of the back compared to the front in order to extend the crotch extension. From this crotch extension part, I added extra 1.5 inch. Like I said earlier on, if the person is from 45 and above, you can use 2 inches, but if the person is from 44 and below, you can use 1.5 inch. So I used 1.5 inch and then extended it in this manner in a straight line. Take note guys, at the waistline I made it to be the same. This is because I'll be adding elastic to the waist. So for this other side, I'm going to be adding additional 1 inch because of the buttocks to give the back a perfect fit. So from that 2 inches point to the waistline, I added extra 1 inch and connected the line in a straight line form like this. But from that point, I curved it to meet up with the crotch extension at the back, just like so. The next thing I proceeded to do was to add additional 1 inch also at this other side. So I added 1 inch from this up part to the end of the trouser, and then I proceeded to cut out the back part. So guys, at this point I'll proceed to cut out the pocket. I'll be cutting out 2 pockets for each side, 4 altogether. I made use of 9 inches for the length and 9 inches for the width of this pocket. So I'm just going to curve it in this manner. So you can place your hand to use to determine how to curve it, or you just curve it randomly. I went ahead to just curve it and then cut it out, and this is going to serve as our inner pocket. I had gone ahead to cut the 4 parts of the pocket at once, so 2 for one side and 2 for the other side. So guys, at this point the next thing we are going to be doing is to join the back side to the front side at the side part. So this is the back and here is the front, so make sure that it aligns the right side to the right side before you attach it together to join it. So I'm just going to join this side, but I'm going to keep a space for the pocket. I had to measure out 1 inch, which served as the allowance part first. So after measuring out 1 inch, remember we kept 2 inches for the elastic band, so I went ahead to mark the 2 inches and then folded it, and then from the folded part I came down by extra 1 inch, and that 1 inch serves as the point where I'll start attaching my pockets from. So from that 1 inch I measured additional 7 inches for the pocket opening and then marked it, and from there I'm going to join till the end of the trouser. So this part to this part will just be where the opening will be. I'll go ahead to join the side of this trouser and join the other side also and show you guys what I have. Note I attached the back side to the front side. After joining it, this was it. I left the opening at the pocket side. Now it's time for us to attach the pocket. So just go ahead to place the pocket at the pocket opening part, making sure that the right side is facing the right side for the back and the right side is also facing the right side for the front. Go ahead and attach it with 1/2 inch on both sides, and then go ahead to just keep it straight, taking it to the front side and then join it round like this. I'll do that and show you guys what I have. Here is it guys. After joining it, the next thing I'm going to do is to just flip it over to the right side and then arrange the pocket to be at the front side, just like this. And then the next thing I'm going to do is to sew at the pocket area for the front side. So just go ahead to take it to the machine at this point and sew at that pocket area. This will help us to distinguish between the front side and the back side. So guys, whatever I am doing on this part, I have also done on the other part of the trouser also. So guys, this is the cargo pocket. I went ahead to join these parts in order to bring out a very nice design. I used a length of 11 inches and a width of 9 inches. I had gone ahead to cut the second part. Next thing I'm going to do is to hem the up part. I'll just go ahead to fold it in of the camera. After folding it in, I think I should have about 10 inches, and I feel it's okay for the length, so I'll do that off the camera and show you guys what I have. For the cover of the cargo pocket, I made use of the green part of the material to make it. So I had gone ahead to also join it, and then for the length I made use of about 4 inches on fold, and for the width I also made use of 9 inches, which is the same as the width of this other one. I flip it over and I will just take it to join it off the camera like this on both sides, right sides facing each other. After top stitching at the pocket side, here's what I had. See how it's looking. So this will enable you to know which side is the front and which side is the back. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to attach the cargo pocket. I had gone ahead to hem it at the up part, and now I have about 10 inches for the length. For the cover pocket, I had also gone ahead to turn it over inside, and this is how it looks like. As you can see, I have ½ inch on both sides for this other side, which means that if we place it on the material, we're going to have the same thing. For the width, now I have about 7.5 inches. So now it's time to place the cargo pocket. At this point, you have to open up the seams to iron it very well, and if possible, go ahead to weave it. So in order to attach it, just take note of the joining part, and then from the part where this pocket stops, go ahead to measure about 6 inches. You can measure lower than that, it depends on where you want yours to stop. So I feel 6 inches is okay for how I wanted mine to be. So I measured from that point 6 inches, and I marked a straight line at that 6 inches point, and then I folded the pocket into two to determine the middle point and attached the middle point to be at the joining part. And then I went ahead to place it ½ inch below the line, and then I went ahead to just pin it down and fold it in. This is just how I'm going to attach it. I'll just fold it in with ½ inch and sew it round. The only part I'm not sewing, of course, is the pocket opening. And then for the pocket cover, I also went ahead to place it, making it to touch the line. So I also determined the midpoint, and then I'm going to just sew it on top of the line, directly on the line, and join it in. So I'll just do that off the camera and show you guys what I have. This is it, guys, after attaching the pocket. I'll also top stitch on the cover pocket. So guys, I've gone ahead to do the same thing on the other side of the trouser. Now it's time for us to join the crotch part and also close the inner part, because we've already closed the side already. I'll go ahead to join the crotch, the front crotch to the front and the back to the back. So while joining it, I'm going to stop at ½ inch before the end. So I had to mark it so you guys will understand what I mean. So I'll just join it with ½ inch. I also joined the back crotch in this manner also. After joining, this was what I have. Just go ahead to open it up and keep it like the way the trouser ought to be, and then from there I'll take it to my sewing machine to join one side to one side to the end, and then I'll join the other side to the other side to the end, also using ½ inch sewing allowance, because it was ½ inch sewing allowance that I added to it. So at this point, after joining it, here is what I have. If you check very well, you see that there is a little hole there, so you need to just join it to cover up the hole. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to fix the waistband for the elastic. At this point, I went ahead to fold it in like this. So just take note of the 2 inches, because we are going to be folding it in by the 2 inches. And for the elastic, the waist of my client is actually 30 inches, but I'm going to be making use of about 24 inches, taking out 6 inches from the actual waist measurement. So in order to sew it and fold it in, take note of the joinings. Make sure the joinings all go in the same direction, so there will be no obstruction when you are trying to fix the elastic. What I mean by that is, if this joining is going towards the left, let all other joinings also go towards the left. Do not take some to the right and some to the left. So guys, I'll just go ahead to hem the waist of the camera. I'll go ahead to fold it in and sew on it. I'm going to keep a little space where I'll pass the elastic through. This is it after sewing it. So the next thing I'm going to do is to use a broomstick and use it with the elastic to pass through. So I'll just use this broomstick like this, and then I'm going to use my thread to just tie it round very strongly. You can use your safety pin if you have it. I do not have a safety pin at the moment, so I'm going to just pass it through. Take note of how this joinings are going, so you're going to pass it through in that way to just follow the joinings. And then I'm just going to fix my elastic band and then show you guys the final outcome of this trouser. So here is it guys. I went ahead to remove the thread and remove the broomstick. So the next thing I'm going to do is to just join it together. So make sure that the elastic aligns. Do not turn one part upside down. So I'll join it here first, and then I'll keep it well and also top stitch on it, so I'll be sure that it's firm. Here is it after joining it. I will just push it in very well at this point, and then I'm going to seal up the space, the hole that I use in passing it through, and that will be all for the making of this trouser. So guys, that's all for the making of this trouser. I'll just go ahead to fold in the down part, and that'll be all. Thank you so much guys for watching up till the end. Please do not forget to hit that like button and also drop a comment on the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe if you've not, and also turn on your notification bell so whenever I drop other videos you'll be notified. So this is it when I tried it on the mannequin, because like I said earlier, it's not mine, so I had to use a mannequin to display it so you guys can see the final outcome. Thank you so much guys, and see you in my next tutorial. Bye.